The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus, Part 5, Claus's First Journey with the Deer. For Claus a time of peace and joy began, as he gave toys to children. But time passed, winter came, and a great deal of snow fell. The sack of toys was heavy, and the journey to the children was long. Even though Claus was strong and determined, he began to wonder. How can I bring toys to all the children, quickly and on time, even in such deep snow? As he sat by the window, watching the snowflakes fall, he saw two deer he knew from the forest walking toward his house. Claus was surprised at how easily they moved across the snow, as if it were solid ground. When the deer came closer, Claus opened the door and called out to them. "Good morning, Flossie. Good morning, Glossie. Tell me how it is possible that you walk so easily on the snow." "It is hard and frozen," answered Flossie. "Its surface is firm like ice," said Glossie. "Perhaps you could help me carry the sack full of toys to the children," Claus said thoughtfully. "Or maybe you could carry me on your backs," he added with quiet hope. But Flossie shook her head firmly. "Oh no, our backs are not strong enough to carry your weight. But if you had a sleigh and could harness us to it, we could easily put you along with a whole sack of toys." "I will make a sleigh," Claus cried. "Will you agree to pull me if I build one?" "Well," Flossie replied, "first we must go and ask the Nooks, our guardians, for permission. If they agree and if you make a sleigh and a harness, we will gladly help you." Flossie and Glossie had long wished to see the world, so they happily ran across the frozen snow to ask the Nooks whether they might travel with Claus. Meanwhile, Claus began to build a sleigh out of wood. Because it was very simple, he was able to make it quickly. Flossie and Glossie soon returned from the forest with permission from the Nooks to travel with Claus, on the condition that they return to Bersey by dawn the next morning. "There is not much time," said Flossie. "But if we set off this very evening, we can travel many miles during the night." Claus quickly began to prepare. He harnessed the deer to the sleigh. He placed a chair on the sleigh as a seat and filled the sack with his finest toys. He sat down on the chair, placed the sack of toys at his feet, and took hold of the reins. "Everything is ready! Hurrah! Off we go!" he cried. And before long, the sleigh was racing over the frozen snow. Claus was amazed at the speed with which they crossed the entire valley and glided across the wide plain beyond it. The moon shone brightly, lighting their way. Claus soon discovered that traveling at night was just as pleasant as traveling by day. The deer enjoyed traveling at night even more. They wished to see the world, but they were afraid of meeting people. Now, however, all the villagers were asleep and could not see them. They sped over hills and through valleys until they reached a village, where they stopped. "I am afraid, my friends, that our journey has been in vain," said Claus, "and I shall have to carry the toys back home." "What's wrong?" asked Flossie. "The doors are locked," replied Klaus, "and I cannot get inside." Glossie looked around at the houses. "Why don't you go down through the chimney?" Glossie suggested. Klaus looked up. "It would be easy if I were up on the roof," he said. "Then hold on, and we'll get you there," said the deer, and with a single leap they jumped onto the roof and landed beside the large chimney. "Excellent!" cried Klaus, delighted. He swung the sack of toys over his shoulder and climbed into the chimney. Slowly he made his way down until he reached the fireplace. He left the toys there for the children, climbed back up the chimney, and sat down on the sleigh. After Klaus had visited every chimney in the village and left a toy for each sleeping child, he turned Flossie and Glossie toward home. After a while, Flossie asked, "What's that gray band in the sky?" "That's the coming down," replied Klaus. "Oh no!" cried Glossie. "Then we will not get home by morning, and the Nooks will punish us and never allow us to go again." "We must hurry," said Flossie. "Hold on tight, Klaus." Klaus held on firmly, and before long they were racing over the snow, swift as the wind. The Nooks were strict masters and had to be obeyed at all costs, and the grey band in the sky was growing brighter with every moment. At last the sleigh came to a sudden stop just a few steps from Klaus's house, and the startled Klaus fell straight from the seat into the snow. When he got up, he heard the deer calling out, "Quickly, Klaus, quickly! Cut our harness!" Klaus quickly cut through the ropes. In the east, the sky was already growing light as Flossie and Glossie disappeared into the forest. The next morning, after Klaus's first journey with his deer, the children ran to their parents with the beautiful toys they had found and asked where they had come from. There was only one answer to that question. It must have been good Klaus, for his toys are the only ones in the whole world. But how did he get inside? The children asked. The fathers only shook their heads, for they themselves did not know how Klaus had entered their homes. But the mothers, watching the happy faces of their children, whispered that good Klaus was no ordinary man, but surely a saint, who had no need to open doors when he wished to enter their homes. And so, our Klaus became Santa Claus, for every person can earn a place as a saint in the hearts of others through good deeds. What do you think, friends? Did Flossie and Glossie manage to return to the forest of Percy in time, just as the strict Nooks had ordered? Or were they a little late after all? And will they be punished for it? I will reveal the answer to this question in the next part of the story, The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus. Don't miss it, because excitement, courage, and a new adventure await us. With love, your Panda Millie.